Hi there. Another video. Okay, let's get right into it. I want to talk about money. Okay, I talk about money a lot. I talk about the gift economy a lot. I want to help to build an economy that's based on giving out of your own loving desire. Simply that you want to give to someone and you know that they can use the gift that you want to give, and they're not the type of person that bites the hand that feeds them. And yeah, simply put, will you get something in return? Will God bless you for the gift that you give? That doesn't come into the equation. It's all about responding to the desire in your heart. A very, very beautiful concept that we could have. And I want to help build that. So in line with that, I want to talk about this idea of money, fiat currency. You know, we believe that money is important because we have attached value to money. You know, I've been thinking about making this video like of tearing a $1 bill in half. Okay, some people think that's the worst thing ever. That kind of attitude. I heard of, you know, Ronald Bernard came out of a very dark situation to start serving God, basically, to start serving truth and goodness and love. And one thing that he did when he was in the midst of his financial scheming was he would be in a bar and he took a $100 bill and in front of somebody's face he would burn it up with a lighter, basically laughing at someone. And this is the kind of money that someone would take a whole day or maybe a couple days to make. So that's Ronald Bernard, if you want to look at him up. Ronald, Bernard. He was an ex-financial hitman, essentially. But I thought, why don't I tear a $1 bill on camera and do a little thought experiment, see how people respond to the tearing of a dollar bill. Why is that? Why is there so much emotional attachment to money when money essentially does not have value? It only has the value that we have attached to it. We are led to believe that human society evolved into having money. We need to have money for some reason. But I like to think that that's a complete fallacy. We are more evolved, we're more loving, we're more developed, more civilized, if you want to use that word, if we give out of our heart. And a lot of that has to do with having faith in our Creator. Knowing, trusting, having faith that God will provide. But what I want to talk about is something a little different. I want to talk about how money is a kind of mind control. When you want to do something, when you want to go somewhere, oftentimes you'll think, how much money does it cost to go, you know, parasailing or kayaking or tubing or white water rafting or any kind of activity that you want to do. If you want to start a business, how much money does it cost to start a business? So these are the things that in this society we think about. One thing that I think about is I'd like to get an area of land to live on. And I previously thought that I'd like to have around 5 acres, but my real goal is to have an area where I can get out my emotions, where I can yell and scream and do all the things I need to do and not really disturb people around me. And I don't think 5 acres is going to be enough, unless I'm in a situation where I'm surrounded by, ranch land or some kind of situation where there aren't a lot of people around me. I don't feel that it's loving to yell at people or yell and then disturb other people, essentially, which is one reason why I find it very difficult to feel my emotions in my apartment. So really a 5-acre property is not enough for me. I'm thinking more along the lines of 17 acres. 17 acres. Or I'll find a room where I can soundproof the walls. Or I'll have one room in my dwelling where the walls are soundproofed. But basically, when I think about, the other day I looked for properties that are 17 acres. And the first thing that I thought, the very first thing was, how much does it cost? And will I have enough money? So just think about that. Ask yourself the next time you think about something that you want to do you immediately go to how much does it cost? And then if it's a lot, as you think, if it's a lot of money, ask yourself, why is it that you think it's a lot of money? Why do you think it's more money than you will ever have the chance to have? That right there is the mind control. That is you being penned in. You being, this is the cage that we're in. We don't believe that God will provide us with all that we desire in a loving, efficient, economical way that doesn't disturb or hurt or harm other people. We don't believe that. We don't believe that just as the birds of the field are cared for and the lilies of the field, we will also be cared for by our loving parent. So I think these are some things to think about. What I try to do is when I notice those thoughts now, I just take a moment and I realize that I'm thinking about money, that there's an equation in my mind that I can't have this thing until I have so much money. When really, I should just be thinking about the thing that I want and imagining having it. Imagining having that thing, whether it's a property, whether it's your soulmate, whether it's a closer connection to our Creator, or some kind of physical thing, or maybe some kind of physical health, the release of emotions that cause some kind of physical pain. What are we thinking about? I lost my train of thought there for a moment. Sorry. What are we? Are we creating this equation that I can't have that thing until I have a certain amount of money? And when we think about that amount of money, let's say we look online, we look up. That's one thing I'll do a lot. I'll search for a piece of property, and I'll think, well, I can't have 17 acres, in Manhattan. So I better go to Nevada, where it's basically a desert. And in some ways, I'd like to be in a desert where I can restore the land. But, why can't I have it in Manhattan? I don't actually want it in Manhattan. I don't want it in a city area. But sorry, I'm getting lost again in these little bits of the argument. But let me close out with that one thought of, do we make it all about how much money we have and how much money we need to get the thing that we want? And do we think about all the complicated ways in which we might somehow get that money and how it might happen, how it will come to us, what kind of work we need to do, how many more hours we need to work, or what kind of business we need to create to make that kind of money? I recommend that you look at Only the thing that you want and how happy it makes you. And if you think about it and you imagine it and it really doesn't make you that happy, then maybe that's not really what you truly want. Or you have some significant blocks and you have some self-worth issues thinking that you don't deserve something. But if it's not harming yourself and it's not harming other people, and it's something that you want, something you desire, something that if you had, you would feel good, chances are God wants you to have that thing. Very, very nice thought. Last thing I want to say is it's better, I feel, to think in terms of resources as opposed to money. If you look at the work of Mark Passio, Passio, you'll learn that there's such a thing called green language, and money disambiguates into one I. Mono or mon being one and EY being I. This is something called green language. It's the feeling you get when you look at a word and the associations that you make in your mind. It's all subliminal, it's quote unquote subconscious. But I'm starting to really believe that money is literally something used for mind control. People talk about, Babylon and that being the genesis of the money system. Whatever it is, we don't need it. We don't need money. We don't need money to have the things we want. We might need resources, but we can have those resources. Those resources can come into our lives. We can attract those things into our lives. And if you don't believe me, well, let me prove it to you.